Hey, you're alive. When I dragged you out of the river, I thought you were never gonna wake up. I checked your pockets for ID, a phone, maybe. I hope you don't mind. But all I found was some loose change. So, wanna tell me who you are? Well, it's nice to meet you. And I'm sorry to pry, but any idea why you were floating down the river? What's the last thing you remember? Oh, you're an archaeologist? Then you'll definitely want to hear this. I don't know if it's exactly what you're looking for, but there are some ruins just behind you. Roman, I think. I need you to go in there and see if you can find a guy named Al for me. He went in there a few hours ago, and he hasn't come out. I've been freaking out, wondering if he's trapped, or injured, or worse. I would have gone in after him, but he made me promise to stay here, no matter what. There's no way I'm leaving without him, so I'm just kind of stuck here, waiting. What I mean is, I was hoping you wouldn't mind going in there to find him? If you can do that, I can get both of you back to civilization in my boat. Please? Oh, of course. Sorry, I don't mean to be pushy, I just... What do you want to know? You really don't remember? We're in Italy. This river is the Tiber. He's the guy who washed up on the riverbank not long before you did. I thought maybe you two knew each other. I guess not. But maybe the two of you can piece together what you're doing here. In any case, you'll like him, I'm sure. Once you find him, that is. Oh, there's not much to tell. Feels like I've spent my whole life in a dead-end job with an endless commute. Know what I mean? Oh, I'd rather not say if it's all the same to you. All right, fine. Sorry if I sounded cagey, it's just that I don't always get the best reactions when I introduce myself. My name's Karen. You're welcome. Always happy to help. Was there anything else you wanted to ask? Not much, really. But imagine what you might find in there. Priceless ancient artifacts. Al... What am I, an idiot? You could hike a long, long way in any direction and never find another soul. Trust me. Great. So you're ready to go look for Al? Are you serious? I just saved your life, and you can't do this one little thing for me. What kind of an Ugh. Look, if you won't do it for me, do it for yourself. You want to know what you're doing here, right? My hero. The entrance is just past those columns behind you. Oh, and he left this here. But I think you'll need it more than I will.
If you're reading this, it means I've discovered the entrance to an ancient Roman city hidden deep underground. Its existence is long forgotten, all knowledge of it lost, except in the Latin inscription here. It reads, "You who wish to enter the city, step forth and be judged. The virtuous shall be rewarded with eternal life in paradise. The wicked shall find themselves showered in gold, but in vain, for this shall be their final resting place." Could an underground city have remained a secret for all this time? Could people have survived down there? Against the odds. It seems there's only one way to find out. If I'm not back in an hour, I'm somewhere on the other side. Consider this an invitation, or a warning. Al Worth. Whoever reads this, I'm sorry you had to find me like this. And worse, that you'll suffer the same fate I did. I've spent a lifetime in this place, going around and around in circles, searching for a way out. The inscription was right. There is no way back. In here, there are only two options: death, or that godforsaken doorway into the past. I made the mistake of stepping through it. I wanted to set things right. And I tried. I really tried. Whatever I did, it took me right back to the beginning. Don't make the same mistake. Better to end it all now and find out what awaits you beyond that portal.
Salve, friend. I'm Galerius. Mind telling me who you are and what you were doing in the Shrine of Proserpina? Yeah, you know, agricultural goddess of springtime? You're not from around here, are you? Oh, I see what you did there. Changing the subject like that. Nice try. But I'll ask again. Who are you, and what were you doing in the shrine? No idea what you're talking about. Oh, wait. Are you a bit, you know, not right in the head? That's all right, friend. Everyone's welcome here. We sort of lose track of the date down here, but it feels like the beginning of spring to me, so I'd say early March? It's 817 AUC. Sorry, you look confused. 817 years since the founding of Rome. Which part of the Empire are you from, exactly? CE? No idea what you're talking about. But listen, most folks seem a bit confused when they get here, but you seem very lost, and in more ways than one. So let me make this nice and simple for you. Live by our law here, and we'll all get along just fine. Not laws, law. There's just one, the Golden Rule, and the punishment for breaking it's... well, it's kind of horrific. But our magistrate insists we take all newcomers to see him, so I guess I'll let him fill you in. So then, you coming? Follow me. When I first arrived, I couldn't believe there were people living down here. But, as you can see, we've got a nice little community now. Only 23 of us at the moment, if you count the 3 who are missing. No idea how, since nobody knows a way out. But it's just big and dark enough to get lost in, if you're not careful.
Aren't you going to introduce me to your handsome new friend, Galerius?
Keep it in your loincloth, Aurelia. I'm taking him to see the magistrate.
That pompous old bore won't be magistrate for much longer. Anyone who helps vote him out today drinks at my bar for free tonight.
Politics. I'd stay clear of it and her, if I were you. She's... it's not my place to say. Down on your right is our farm, where I grow all the food you'll ever want. As long as all you want is leek, cabbage, and wheat. Huh. That one usually gets a chuckle.
The bloodless shadows wander without flesh or bone.
Don't mind Livia. She means well. She's just been in a bad place since... well, you know, I don't know what happened to her. Up here on your right is the chasm. If you've got a weapon, it belongs way down at the bottom. Up on your left is the Forum, where you can visit the market or get yourself patched up in Lucretia's clinic in the Shrine of Apollo. Most of us have almost nothing. Just what we had on us when we arrived, and what we've been able to make and scrounge up since. And this central plateau is where the magistrate and the other patricians live, so don't expect a warm welcome.
Galerius, you're meant to be working the farm, not trudging dirt into the villas.
Take it easy, Horatius. I was just taking our new friend here to see the magistrate.
Well, he's asked me to escort the newcomer personally. The farm. Go. Now.
You'd better go with him. But just remember, they're not like you and me. Don't let them use you.
What was that? What did you just say?
I said it'll take some getting used to.
Yeah, I'm watching you, farm boy. Greetings, citizen. My name's Horatius. Magistrate Sentius asked me to escort you to him personally. Follow me, please. I expect the magistrate wants to brief you about the Golden Rule. It shouldn't take too long. He's busy preparing for the election later today. Follow me. The only thing you really need to understand right now is the Golden Rule. Let me see if I can explain it this way. When I was serving in the Legion, if there was a mutiny brewing in one cohort, the legate in charge wouldn't waste time finding the bad apples among hundreds. They just divided us into groups of 10, made us draw straws, and whoever drew the short straw had to be executed by the other 9. Didn't matter whether he'd done anything wrong.
Oh, another one fresh out of the
One of
baths, I
us in
take it.
10 would die for the crimes of the collective. We call it decimation. If that seems like
Oh, I wish Horatius would stop letting barbarians in here.
Shock,
What do you want?
because the Golden Rule is exactly 10 times
I'm
worse.
Sentia, eldest
Magistrate
daughter of the
is like the rest.
magistrate. But you'd know
As if he
that if
says.
you'd been invited in here and introduced properly. What are you doing in here? And why are you dressed like that? Really? I'd never have noticed, what with your flawless accent, appropriate attire, and impressive mastery of our customs. Now, remind me, why are we having this conversation? You know, some people say it's the creation of an all-seeing God who's watching everything we do. But what kind of an awful, incompetent God would let my sister go missing on his or her watch? Oh, I'd say it to their faces if they had the courage to show themselves. Did you hear that? Curse you, you coward! Where is my sister? What do you have to say for yourself? No response. Nothing. That's what I thought. I'm telling you, this mysterious god of ours has to be asleep on the job. Either that, or, like people are saying, it really is just a children's fable my father is exploiting to frighten us into behaving. I suppose we will. Ugh, what is it with you people? You heard the rumor that my little sister escaped and figure I must know a way out too. Is that it? Well, that's just a stupid rumor. We have no idea what happened to Scintilla. I wish you mouth breathers would just leave me alone. I don't know. Can you? Can you tell me how a person could have disappeared from a city with no exits and no crime? Was she snatched away by the Harpies? It was 3 weeks ago. We ate our evening meal together, and I remember she seemed happy. In love. We went into our rooms, I went to sleep, and when I woke up, she was gone. That's it. It was 3... We went into our room. I think so, yes. But she was very careful about keeping his identity a secret, even from me. I don't know. But it's been 3 weeks since she disappeared, and he hasn't come forward. That might speak to a guilty conscience. All I know is, whoever he is, he's still here in the city. You really aren't from here, are you? All Roman women are named after their fathers. I think it's their way of branding us, like cattle to be sold at market. His family name is Sentius, so I'm Sentia because I'm the eldest, and my little sister is formerly Sentia Minor, but she is affectionately known as Scintilla. Why? Because I'm on this couch and not pacing about the villa wasting energy? I hope you're not insinuating I'm somehow pleased with her disappearance. Ugh, you're awful. Get out of my villa and never speak to me again. Do I need to ask Horatius to escort you out of here? Get out, you horrid barbarian!
We're finally alone. I assume you already know who I am. May I know your name? A curious name, to match a curious accent. But I digress. I see you have the piercing and astute eyes of a man of great learning. We're always happy to welcome another scholar to our little community. Equitia will be delighted to meet you, I'm sure. Now, you're probably wondering why I summoned you, and I'll get to that. But first, take a look at this wondrous place, would you? A secret city built deep in the mountains, many hundreds of years ago. In good time. More importantly,
Consider the miraculous community we've built here over the last 7 months. 22 complete strangers brought together by the fates, living and working together in our own little paradise. And in all that time, not a single sin has been committed. No fights, no theft, nothing. Have you ever witnessed something so extraordinary as a city without sin? Nor could I until I came here. But the reason for this miracle is as simple as it is terrifying. If even one person commits a sin here, every last one of us will die. You see, the builders of this place, whoever they were, left inscriptions warning, "The many shall suffer for the sins of the one." From what we can gather, breaking the law here will anger the gods and provoke a terrible punishment. Like the curses of Medusa and Midas combined, turning us all to gold. We've come to call it the Golden Rule. It's extraordinary that we've survived as long as we have, and each day I grow more and more afraid that our time in the sun is almost up. And now it seems that day is finally here. All that matters is that somebody in this city is about to break the Golden Rule. Why else would Proserpina send you now? Unless you and I can stop them, our doom is assured. I know that's a lot to take in, and you look like you have questions. Please, ask away. An intelligent question. There was a good deal of debate about that in our first weeks here. Does it refer to crimes or to some other ill-defined wrong? Of course, everyone agrees on the basics. No theft, no assault, and certainly no murder. But beyond that, it was more difficult to reach a consensus. What about lying, insulting someone, blasphemy, trespass, trying to escape, bribery, infidelity, suicide? As magistrate, I had to exercise leadership, and so I made a decision. We must uphold the laws of the Empire to a standard never before seen. And we must honor the peace of the gods, the sacred accord between the gods and the people of Rome. It is only by offering the gods the proper respect that we may prosper, as Rome has for centuries. Barbaric? Barbaric? What are you talking about? The Empire is the most civilizing force in the known world. Rome is a beacon of light in the darkness. For 800 years she has borne great statesmen, philosophers, poets, artists, and engineers. We have comprehensive laws protecting the rights of our citizens, which have unified countless warring tribes all across the Mediterranean and beyond, from Gallia to Judea. All our citizens are treated the same, regardless of the color of their skin or their sexual preference. Can you say the same? When our people are starving, they are given food rations, and when they are wronged, they have the right to bring the guilty party before the magistrate. Our laws forbid treason, murder, assault, and rape, as well as theft and arson, and so on. No other civilization in the world is so advanced, and you have the hubris to call us barbaric? You mean the blasphemous cult responsible for burning down half of Rome last year? It's hard to blame the people for being angry about that. Of course, what else would we do with those prisoners of war who would otherwise have been executed? And besides, there are laws for their protection as well. On occasion, But our gladiators are almost all volunteers seeking glory, or condemned prisoners who would have been executed anyway. I do not see the harm. Of course, but with fewer rights come fewer responsibilities, and the right to be protected by their fathers and husbands. Are you talking about our practice of decimation? Of course. We could hardly unite all these warring tribes without a disciplined, formidable legion. Well, right now, you're a long, long way from home. I have made my pronouncement on the subject. Unfortunately, there are still those here who resist, whispering blasphemous and treasonous lies in the shadows. I would be keeping a close eye on them if I were you. You see, in my search for a way to save my people, I learned of an ancient ritual to Proserpina, the goddess of the cycle of life and renewal. It's said to open a doorway in time so that if the unthinkable happens, one person can pass through it and travel back to the past. And when I saw you arrive in a flash of light from the goddess's shrine, I knew that person was you. You don't belong in our time, do you? "2,000 years? That is unfathomable. Please tell me, in your time, what did you see? What had become of us, of this city?" I have imagined it, our downfall, 1,000 times, but it still breaks my heart to hear the truth of it. All I can tell you is that it's a ritual sacrifice to Proserpina. I stumbled across instructions. I have to recite a prayer, and of course, as with all rituals, some sacrifice is involved. Usually that means wine or food, or in some cases a live animal. In this case, the sacrifice is rather more costly. The life of the person performing the ritual. I don't suppose you saw any sign of me in the future? I assume that was me. If I'm forced to perform the ritual, it's going to cost me everything. You'll try to make sure I don't need to use it, won't you? Well, thank you for your candor, I suppose. Well, I believe you're in the best position to go around asking people questions. You're new here, and it'll seem perfectly normal. As for me, well, it pains me to say my attempts to impose order have not earned me many friends. I fear I may not even remain magistrate after today's election. The people here would only treat my curiosity with suspicion. You shouldn't have that problem, though, unless, of course, you get off on the wrong foot. If I understand Proserpina's ritual correctly, that problem should take care of itself. Let me see if I can explain. If you manage to prevent the sin that breaks the Golden Rule, I won't need to bring you here. I won't create the portal, and you will never have been able to come here. Thus, you'll have created a paradox. If this occurs, you should be flung back to your own time, having changed the past for all of us. Make sense? Do you ever stare at a problem for so long that you can't see it for what it is anymore? What's needed here is a fresh pair of eyes. the less I prejudice the independence of your investigation, the better. So you know about that already. It's a devastating loss, of course, but that was over 3 weeks ago, and whatever happened to her, it didn't break the Golden Rule, so I don't think it's connected with our imminent demise. Still, if you happen to find her and return her to me, I would be eternally grateful. Me? Why would you suspect me? I've just told you, I'm about to sacrifice my own life to ensure these people have a second chance. What reason could you possibly have to suspect me, of all people? I'm glad you think so. Without trust, without each other, we won't be able to prevent what is about to happen. Well, all right. There are those who wish to vote me out of office so that they can pursue their own misguided political agenda. Frankly, their selfishness and recklessness risk destabilizing the entire city. I would be looking very carefully at them if I were you. Ah, good. So, are you with me? Can I count on you to figure out who's about to break the Golden Rule? No, I don't suppose you do. But I'm hoping that even if you're not burdened with a sense of self-sacrifice, you'll at least see the sense in self-preservation. Wonderful. Now, I need you to investigate the city, talk to everyone, help them if it'll win their trust. I authorize you to enter private homes and inspect possessions and documents, unless, of course, you're asked to leave. Figure out who the culprit is, and as soon as you have a name, come back and tell me immediately. Oh, and one last thing. If I were you, I'd start my investigation by visiting Lucretia at the Shrine of Apollo in the Forum. I heard wailing from there not long ago. Seems like something's not right. Ah, you've returned. Do you have any news about your investigation? Of course. What is it? Are you sure you've spent enough time investigating to make that call? It seems to me you've barely had enough time to scratch the surface. It looks like you'll have to continue your investigation. Now, was there anything else you wanted to ask? I've had plenty of time to think about it. Let me see if I can sum up my thoughts. I've always considered my guiding star to be the well-being of the Roman people. Our survival and prosperity have always hinged upon honoring the peace of the gods, the sacred accord between the gods and the people of Rome. Give the gods what they want and we all prosper. Dishonor them and we all die. It's as simple as that. The real enemy in this place is not the Golden Rule, but human failings. I trust that answers. Thank you. I'll be waiting here for news. Are they? citizen.
Fresh meat, huh?
Isn't the Great Temple majestic?
On your best behavior, I trust?
Keeping an eye on things, Horatius?
As always, priestess.
Any news about Centilla, Navia, or Kabash?
No sign of any of them, I'm afraid. Look, we do have a here. Strangely dressed though. The accent too. Seems that way.
Give me a moment. Sorry I'm such a mess. I just lost a patient and a dear friend. Yulia. She was a good woman. She was poisoned. She came in here frothing at the mouth. Normally I'd treat her with resin of silphium, a rare plant which is perfect for this sort of thing. And I knew Decius had some at his market stall, right around the corner. So I ran over there, but he just looks at me with this evil smile and says, "That'll be 1,000 denarii." There was no way I could afford that, and he knew it. Then that toad shrugs and says, "Supply and demand. I guess you don't value your friend's life that highly." Anywhere else, I'd just pay a thug to steal it from his stall, but there's no way I can do that down here with the golden rule. So all I could do is come back here and just watch her die. I kept on apologizing. And now I'll never know who poisoned her, or how they managed to do it without breaking the golden rule, or why she cursed that snake's cruel black eyes with her dying breath. Well, unless you have the power to bring someone back from the dead, there's really just one thing you can do. Get me that silphium resin. I'm going to have another patient in here soon. Could be in the next day, or in the next hour. And I will not allow this to happen again. I don't care how you get it, but you have to make it happen. Because if I lose another patient this way, I swear to the gods below, not even the golden rule will stop me from marching up to that Genetricum Fututo and scratching his eyes out. Well, come back if you get sick or injured. Day or night, I'll do what I can.
Hey, Virgil, how much would you want to make me a bow?
For the last time, Decius, I'm not making you a bow.
But why?
You know why.
But how am I going to defend myself against someone else with a weapon?
There are no other weapons in the city. We all went along with the magistrate's weapons ban, so it wouldn't be an issue.
That's why I've got to get in first before someone else beats me to it. Salve, stranger, and welcome to our idyllic little slice of the Empire. I'm Decius. Terrible shame what happened to Yulia, but we just have to carry on, don't we? Certainly. All I ask is a reasonable price of 1,000 denarii. That's hardly my concern. But if you get a job, work hard and save your coins, you should be able to afford it within, say, 5 years? Oh, it's perfectly legal. Simply a question of supply and demand, I'm afraid. Take it or leave it. Hear what? You sure you're feeling all right? If you're hearing things, perhaps you should pay a visit to Lucretia's clinic. We don't want another Navia on our hands. She claimed the statue was whispering to her. Nobody else could hear it. Then she shut herself in the palace and we never heard from her again. But I digress. Do you want this Silphium or not? Well, if you did that, you'd break the golden rule, and we'd share the same fate as the last lot who lived here. Is that what you want? We agree on something. Now, do you want to make a purchase? Well, if you did that, you'd break the golden rule, and we'd share the same fate as the last lot who lived here. Is that what you want? Don't you dare. Ah, back again, I see. Very well. Salve.
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
Salve, friend. Mind telling me who you are and why you look like you've just taken on a gladiator and lost? I don't think so. I've never seen you before in my life. Oh, Bacchus, how much did I drink last night? Sorry to have bothered you. Oh, and since you seem to be in a hurry, you should try out this device I made. Worked real hard on it. Just attach the pulley to the rope over the lake and hang on to the handles. If it works, it'll be faster than walking. And if it doesn't work, worst thing that can happen is you'll take a swim in the lake. I haven't quite summoned the courage to test it myself. But don't worry, it's completely safe. All right.
You, Sisyphus, attack or pursue the stone that always returns.
What are you doing in here? Can't you see this woman is dying? She's been poisoned. She needs the resin of a plant called Silphium, but that Culus cumbulatus decius won't... What? Quick, give it here. Hopefully in a moment she should be able to breathe normally. That was extraordinary. How did you know she needed this exact thing, and at this exact moment? Are you some kind of oracle? Look, if you don't want to tell me, I won't look a gift horse in the mouth. But no matter. That was like the gods hearing my prayer. You just saved a person's life, and you should be proud of yourself. She might even be able to thank you herself in a few moments. And maybe she can tell us who poisoned her, and who she meant when she was muttering about that snake's cruel black eyes. In the meantime, I'm happy to help you with whatever it is. Oh no. Sorry, I don't mean to worry you, but no, that is definitely not. There was one other person who claimed she could hear the statues talk, but that was Nevia, and she went a little... Anything about what? Sure. What do you want to know? Do you really... Gladly. I wish. Some people here need proper medical care, not the half-baked, hanging by a thread excuse for... Just don't get sick or injured here. I'll do my best to treat you, but I'm out of my depth and dangerously short on everything you can imagine. That's a shame. Thanks again for saving Yulia's life. Apollo smiles upon you.
Oh, it's you. Sorry, I'm still a bit out of it. But thanks for trying to help me, I suppose. Was there something you wanted? Lucretia says I'm supposed to rest. As much as I'm grateful that you tried to help me, it's just not safe for me to talk about it. Please, no more questions. The Golden Rule. That's the least of my worries. The gods may be cruel, but Malleolus and Claudia are far crueler. Please, just leave me alone. I don't want to talk about it. Persistent as Nemesis, aren't you? I can tell you, but it's a long saga. All right. I'd been here about a week when it dawned on me I'd be trapped here for the rest of my life. I could hardly breathe, and I knew I had to get out somehow. So when my new friend Aurelia offered me a secret way out, I would have done anything. And then I learned her asking price. 1,000 denarii. She was supposed to be my friend. I told her it would take me years to save up that much. So she suggested I take out a loan from Malleolus. And I did. I had to sign an agreement saying I'd work off the debt over 30 years. But I figured I'd be out of here so soon it wouldn't matter. I paid Aurelia, and she gave me her so-called way out. Do you want to know what it was? Hemlock. It's a deadly poison made from a plant. Drink this, she said, and you'll be out of here in no time. Of course, I demanded my money back, but she refused. She pointed to a sign on her tavern saying, "Let the buyer beware." Then she just looked at me with those cruel black eyes and she laughed. She immediately told Malleolus I'd tried to escape without paying him back. Only, he didn't seem upset or surprised at all. In fact, he just thanked her. And that's when I realized the two of them had planned the whole thing from the beginning. Of course. I went to Sentius and begged for help, but he said the law was clear. I'd signed over my labor for 30 years and there was nothing he could do. I thought about resisting too. But Malleolus said if I didn't submit, I'd break the Golden Rule. And I couldn't be responsible for all those deaths, so he locked me in his villa. Confiscated everything I owned as collateral, and made me wear immodest, humiliating outfits while I worked day in, day out. His wife Claudia was just as bad. She sent me to work on an endless stream of futile, demeaning tasks. I'd be on my hands and knees, scrubbing the floor clean for hours, only for her to pour slop on it and hiss, "You missed a spot." Those two took everything from me. But they forgot to confiscate one thing. My hemlock. I just wanted it to be over. But it seems I messed that up too. Should have drunk all of it. I brought it on myself. I trusted one of the most callous human beings I've ever met, and tried to swindle the other. I don't know how I could have been so stupid. When I've recovered, I expect their thug Domitius will come for me. He'll escort me back to their villa, and I'll be right back where I started. Only this time, I won't be able to lull myself to sleep at night with the thought of a permanent solution. Honestly, it would have been better if the poison had been allowed to run its course. I doubt it. It seems this is the fate the gods have chosen for me. For trying to escape. At least until someone breaks the golden rule. Huh. Maybe it wouldn't be so bad. A lot. But it doesn't matter. I made a suicide pact with Ulpius last night. He's in exactly the same position as I am. Malleolus and Aurelius set the same trap for him a month after they did it to me. He and I are in this together. He's probably already thrown himself from the bluff into Malleolus's villa by now. If so, I'd never be able to live with myself, knowing I broke my promise to him. I doubt you could make it up to the bluff in time. I don't know who you are, or why you seem so determined to help me, but thank you.
Isn't the great temple majestic?
Fresh meat, huh? Hey, Horatius. How's it feel knowing your master?
If you're trying to goad me into an argument, oh! Ooh.
Are they?
I hope you're taking care of yourself. Salve, friend. I'm Octavia. Welcome to life under the Golden Rule. It's a ghastly thing, is it not? How are you faring so far? All right, well, it was lovely to meet you. I look forward to getting to know you better over the coming months. And if you ever...
I can't believe this is how it ends.
Oh no. No. No, 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 no. Ulpius, what are you doing? Get back from there. If you lose your balance, you'll fall.
That's the idea.
What? Why? Why would you want that?
Why do you think I'm stuck for the rest of my life working for a man who treats me like an animal?
I know things are hard for you right now. They're hard for all of us. We're all in this together, Ulpius. Please, please just think this through. If you do this, it could be the sin that seals all of our fates. Is that what you want?
I'm sorry, but I just don't care anymore.
Please, Ulpius. Help him. If he goes through with it, it could be the end for us all. I don't know what to do. I've never had to deal with this sort of thing. Please, you need to talk to him. I don't know, but it's a crime for slaves to take their own lives. And a debt bondsman isn't far off. Thank you. And please, choose your words carefully.
Let me guess. You're going to lecture me on how suicide is a crime against the Empire. I screwed up my life. That's what's wrong. I borrowed money, and when I couldn't pay it back, I wound up in debt bondage. I'll be stuck slaving away for that Culus Cumulatis Malleolus for the rest of my life. I am out. Wherever you are, Scintilla, my love, I'm sorry.
Ulpius, no! I can't believe he went through with it. Oh Lord. That poor lamb. Well, I suppose it means suicide isn't a sin under the Golden Rule. So I guess that means whichever god is responsible for it. It isn't mine. I'll have to let everyone know what happened. And I guess Malleolus will have to clean up the mess in his villa. It's of his own making, after all. And I'd best pray for poor Ulpius.
Thank you. I am delighted and deeply honored to have been elected your magistrate. Yes. Thank you. I'm delighted and deeply honored. Thank you. And now, I make this solemn promise to you, good citizens. And now, I make this solemn promise to you, good citizens. Under my leadership, you will finally enjoy the freedom you deserve. And, yes, no more shall you walk on,
Did you just leap into my villa from the balcony 100 feet above? That was either extremely reckless or impressively clever. Well, why have you risked life and limb to see me? I'm Malleolus, and if it wasn't for this interruption, I'd be practicing my victory speech for the election later today. I'm glad you asked. I'll finally restore freedom to this city, just as I've been promising. These good people have suffered long enough under Sentius's tyranny. By declaring there's no such thing as the Golden Rule, It's a children's fable exploited by Sentius to frighten us into submission. Wait, don't tell me you've fallen victim to that monstrous lie? Nonsense! There's no way you can prove that. If it was real and you'd seen someone break it, then you'd be dead already. What? Oh, I see what's happening here. Another poor, vulnerable soul taken in by Sentius's machinations. He won't get away with this much longer. I disagree. I'll be guided by what is best for the city's people, and that means giving them the freedom to do as they wish. True, but that is simply because you are mistaken. I'm afraid not. We're stuck down here together, for better or worse. We're all going to have to make the best of it. I trust through the door this time. There's a key just beside.
Thank you. Thank you. I am delighted and deeply honored to have been elected your magistrate. Yes, thank you. I'm delighted and deeply honored. And now, I make this solemn promise to you, citizens. Under my leadership, you will finally enjoy the freedom you deserve. And I expect you all should walk on you all should walk on eggshells to live and breathe the constant climate Sentius forbidden. Yes. Over my first act as magistrate, I hereby announce a day of, well, a day of celebration. I hereby announce a day of celebration to mark the end of an era. Yes, yes, yes.
Oi! How did you get in there, you cheeky little Sturkus? If I cop an earful from Malleolus, I'll be coming for you. fresh meat, huh?
On your best
Ave.
behavior, I trust?
A new face. Ave, and may Vesta watch over you. I'm Equitia. To what do I owe the pleasure of this visit? Oh my. I take it people are quite direct where you're from. I suppose it's quite charming in its own way. Usually, however, you wouldn't simply march up to a Vestal priestess and without due formality or courtesy ask, "What is your story?" The proper approach would be to arrange an introduction through a mutual acquaintance in high office, by which time you would already know how to address me. And then you would find a way to satisfy your curiosity rather more indirectly. But to be honest, I've often thought what an unnecessarily formal way to communicate that is. So, let's do it your way. You just keep being yourself and ask whatever you like. It'll be a refreshing change. You know, I'm not entirely sure. But what about you? How did you end up here? Karen, you say? And nothing about that name seemed odd to you? Why is that? The memes? What are the memes? So, a bit like Egyptian hieroglyphs, then? So your people make hieroglyphics depicting this accursed character, the one they call Karen. I wonder if... No. I apologize. I don't mean to be cryptic. It's just that you've got me thinking. Have you spoken with any of the others about how they arrived here too? I really think you should. Go around and ask them what they remember and see if you notice any patterns. I know. I just don't want to see what happened to Livia happen to you too. Up until a few weeks ago, she was a perfectly productive member of our little community, darning clothes and cutting hair. She was always so chatty, always seeking out newcomers and asking them where they were from and how they wound up here. And then, about a month ago, she suddenly changed. She withdrew, stopped working and became despondent, started muttering to herself. Galerius and I visited her to see how we could help, but she just looked at us with this haunted stare, called us bloodless shadows, and told us we were ignorant of some pattern. Look, it could be unrelated. Perhaps she simply fell ill. Or, as Galerius suggested, the weight of the Golden Rule was too much for her. But there is a small chance that she learned something, saw a pattern nobody else saw, and that it broke her. I just don't want to see that happen to you. So be careful, will you? Thank you. Now, go and follow the thread of truth through this labyrinth, and come back to me if you discover any patterns. I don't, I'm afraid. It seems to me we're exiled here until the gods judge us, one way or another. I'm quite sure it's the work of the gods, which is strange because they've never been particularly concerned with our misdeeds, as long as we've kept the peace of the gods. We asked for blessings, for good health, bountiful harvest, military victory, and in return, we offer praise, wine, incense, or animals. But here, it seems they require much more of us. I find myself reminded of an especially pertinent tale from our great poet Ovid in his epic Metamorphoses. Would you like to hear it? It is rather long. Wonderful. It goes like this. Baucis and Philemon were an old married couple living a humble life in a small town. One night, the town gets a visit from a couple of vagrants. They go from door to door, asking for a place to stay the night. Of course, being vagrants, they're turned away sharply from house after house, 1,000 in all, until finally place to stay. Immediately the guests make themselves at home. They begin gulping down the old couple's wine, so much so that Baucis, the old lady, begins to worry they're going to run out. And then she notices something strange. Her wine pitcher keeps refilling itself, as if by magic, realizing only a select few possess such powers. Says to her husband, Philemon, "I think these men are gods in disguise." Immediately the couple begins apologizing for offering such coarse wine, and the vagrants metamorphosize and reveal themselves to be Jupiter, the king of the gods, and Mercury, the trickster god. They confide they didn't mind the meager offerings. They were just pleased that someone in the town offered them hospitality. Then Jupiter says to them, "You have passed our test, but everyone else in this city failed, so we are going to destroy this place and everyone in it, except you, who we will grant a wish." So old Baucis and Philemon escape up into the mountains safely, and they receive their wish, which is for eternity together. Meanwhile, Jupiter carries through with his threat and wipes that city off the map. Some say the moral of that story is that we must all honor the sacred rituals of guest friendship, the reciprocal obligations owed between hosts and guests. But I like to think it's that we should always show compassion for those less fortunate than ourselves. A cynic philosopher might take that view, but it's not entirely invalid, I suppose. It must be completed by dusk, just the same as any other official business. It'll be between Sentius, the incumbent, and Malleolus, the challenger. Why do you ask? All of the male citizens who are willing and able to attend, unless they're running, of course. Well, you're not a citizen yet, so no, I'm afraid not. But if it's any consolation, there are other ways to influence the outcome of an election. By using whatever gifts the gods gave you. Nothing untoward, of course. I'm responsible for announcing it and making sure the procedures are followed. You can, assuming they're eligible and willing to accept the nomination. As I said, I'm planning to hold it before dusk, but I suppose I could hold it sooner, if there's a good reason. Yes. I have overheard some rather unpleasant arguments. The last thing we need here is additional conflict. Very well. I'll get things started right away. Citizens, it is time. Let us meet to elect our magistrate.
Time to go to the theater.
Citizens, we have a quorate body of voters gathered here to elect the city's magistrate. The candidates are Sextus Sentius Imperiosus and Marcus Malleolus Gurges. As agreed, we shall dispense with ballots and candidates will abstain from voting. Let's make this quick. As I say your name, call your vote. I'll start with you, Horatius.
Sentius, of course.
Georgius.
Malleolus.
Dacius.
Malleolus.
Galerius.
I abstain. I'm just here to observe.
Virgil.
Malleolus.
Rufius.
Malleolus.
And finally, Domitius.
Malleolus. Who else?
Citizens, you have made your decision. Your new magistrate is Marcus Malleolus Gurges.
Hail, Magistrate Malleolus. I said, hail, Magistrate Malleolus. That's more like it.
Thank you. Thank you. I am delighted and deeply honored to have been elected your magistrate. And now, I make this solemn promise to you, good citizens. Under my leadership, you will finally enjoy the freedom you deserve. No more shall you walk on eggshells, fearing simply to live and breathe, because the tyrant Sentius told you it was forbidden. For my first act as magistrate, I hereby announce a day of celebration to mark the end of an era. The myth of the Golden Rule is no more.
The Golden Rule is real, you idiot.
For his attempt to deceive us all, Sentius is hereby found guilty of treason against the Empire.
What? I have committed no crimes. This is madness.
His sentence: to fight for his life in gladiatorial combat against Domitius. Here and now for your entertainment.
You have no idea what you're doing. You're going to get us all killed.
Wait, I exercise my right as a Vestal priestess to pardon him. I will not allow you to do this.
You're showing your true colors now, priestess. Your corruption sickens me. Domitius, ignore her. Proceed.
This is insanity. You'll doom us all.
Lies! It is time the Golden Rule was exposed for what it is. A children's fable, exploited by a treacherous leader to instill fear in all of us.
This is why he's in his gladiator gear. They've been planning this all along.
Shut up, all of you. The magistrate has spoken. I'm going to enjoy killing you, old man.
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
Stop! As magistrate, I command you to stop.
Salve, friend. I'm Galerius. Mind telling... Oh, sounds serious. Yulia? Oh no. All right, I can do that. I'll go, but once I'm done, I'll need you to tell me how you know all of this.
You, Sisyphus, attack or pursue the stone that always returns. Just as the ocean accepts the rivers of all the world, so this place accepts all the souls. But it does not notice the crowds that come. The bloodless shadows wander without flesh or bone. Some crowd the Forum, some the house of the ruler of the depths. Others follow their trades, imitating their previous lives. They never do. There is only a downward path, gloomy with fatal yew trees. It leads through dumb silence to the infernal regions. The bloodless shadows. This is their punishment. Help me? You cannot help me. I have seen things. A pattern, a terrible pattern. It is better for you if you remain ignorant. Pandora's box must stay closed. I'll say no more. You think you wish to know, but you do not. It is better for you if you remain ignorant. Pandora's box must stay closed. The newly arrived are ignorant of the road before them.
Keep an eye out for Scintilla, would you?
We're finally alone. I assume you already know who I am. We have? Wait. I must have entrusted you with figuring out who the culprit is. Only, I assume we failed. Is that about right? If... Ah, I see. Look, it's unfortunate, but all that matters now is that you make use of what you've learned and gathered and do better now. I assume you've sought me out again for a reason. Of course. What is it? Yes? Why do you say that? What? I'm speechless. How do you know? Of course, this isn't your first loop, is it? Well then, you must stop him from winning the election. I expect you'll need some kind of leverage on him, but I can't be seen to be involved in this, of course, so you'll be on your own. You better not waste any time, and may Swada, goddess of persuasion, go with you. Good, thank you. Ah, you've returned. Do you have any news about your investigation? Of course. What is it? Yes? Why do you say that? You seem to be grasping at straws here. I can assure you, she is most upset about her sister. As am I. It looks like you'll have to continue your investigation. Now, was there anything else you wanted to ask? Of course. What is it? Yes? do you say that? Indeed. That is abhorrent. And even if doing so hasn't directly broken the Golden Rule, it's not difficult to imagine this behavior provoking someone to theft or violence. Thank you for bringing this to my attention, but before we proceed, I must ask, are you sure he's the one? Well then, in that case, as much as it pains me to do so, I must act decisively to ensure the survival of my people. As magistrate, I hereby declare him an enemy of Rome and authorize his execution by your hand, forthwith. Any way you can. Despite my weapons ban, it's been my experience one can always find a weapon if one looks hard enough. I don't believe so, no. It's not a crime to carry out the lawful order of a magistrate. Thank you. Please act quickly before it's too late.
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.